In this lesson, we will be able to create fractions made from copies of unit fractions. In the previous lesson, we were able to name fractions when 1 was the numerator. Today, we will take a look at fractions with different numerators. Look at this circle. The circle is divided into fourths because there are 4 equal parts. When we count the pieces, I can say I have 1 1/4, 2 1/4, 3 1/4, and 4 1/4 that make a whole. We can continue with the same pieces to make 5 1/4, 6 1/4, 7 1/4, and 8 1/4. Now, let's take a look back of how we counted the pieces. Even though each piece is a 1/4 piece, the second piece by itself is not 2/4. Only when it was combined with another piece do we have the fraction 2/4. If I add the third, I have 3/4, and the fourth would make 4/4. When helping your student at home, most people don't own fraction circles. Perhaps you may have Legos at home. Let's use this piece to represent our whole. I can look through my pieces to find what would equal 1/2. I notice that this Lego would represent half of the whole. Let's see how many halves I have. I have 1 1/2, 2 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2, and 7 1/2. The first Lego represents 1/2. If I combine 2, I have 2 halves. This means we have 2 pieces, each the size of 1/2. The fraction 2/2 is built with unit fractions. It takes 2 copies of the unit fraction. For 3 halves, I have 3 pieces, so my numerator is 3. Each piece is the size of 1/2, so the denominator is 2. Let's move on to a different problem using our same whole. Let's find 1/8 of the whole. This piece can fit exactly 8 times to cover my whole. Each piece is the same and each represent 1/8 of my whole. I have 1 1/8, 2 1/8, 3 1/8, 4 1/8, 5 1/8, 6 1/8, 7 1/8, and 8 1/8. The first Lego represents 1/8. The second Lego, combined with the first, represents 2/8. The third Lego, combined with the previous, makes 3/8. And if I add the fourth, I would have 4/8, and so on. If I look at all the Legos, it takes 8 1/8 pieces to cover the whole. This fraction would be represented as 8/8. Using our same whole, looking at my pieces, I notice this Lego represents 1/4 of my whole. I can count my fourths in a similar fashion. 1 1/4, 2 1/4, 3 1/4, and 4 1/4. A fun way to vary this activity at home is to pick a different size Lego each time to represent the whole. That will allow the student to explore and discover fractions. Today, we were able to copy unit fractions to create fractions with numerators greater than 1. Our objective in this lesson was to be able to create fractions made from copies of unit fractions. In this lesson, we used fraction circles as well as Legos to represent various fractions. As we counted our unit fractions, we were able to create more fractions.